Hi folks, I'm Steve Hindy for Showing Animals Respect and Kindness. Envigo is an oversized commercial puppy mill that supplies beagles and other animals for testing and experimentation. Shark began exposing cruelty at Envigo's facility as far back as 2017, when it was owned by a company called Covance. Our drone footage exposed terrible conditions, including overcrowding in feces and urine-filled cages. We filmed beagles fighting and exhibiting neurotic, repetitive behavior. We recorded the haunting cries of the animals as they suffered in that hellhole. The inescapable, ear-splitting noise of thousands of beagles expressing their distress and frustration constituted gross cruelty all by itself. Shortly after Shark exposed this cruelty, the facility was sold to Envigo, where things did not get better. In the years that followed, the abuses continued, and Envigo was cited for numerous violations of animal welfare laws. Shark's 2019 drone video prompted Virginia legislators to begin passing laws to try to improve the treatment of these animals, but Envigo's substandard conditions continued, and the beagles continued to suffer and die. On July 1, 2022, U.S. District Court Judge Norman Moon ordered Envigo to surrender approximately 4,000 beagles to the Humane Society of the United States, or HSUS. As Beth and Merritt Clifton of the blog Animals 24/7 wrote in their July 3, 2022 blog, the Moon order facilitated the largest impoundment of dogs from a laboratory animal breeding compound in the 57-year history of the Animal Welfare Act. This is a historic event. The beagles at Envigo need and deserved swift rescue by a serious, competent organization. Unfortunately, that's not what they got in HSUS. On July 8, 2022, a week after the judge's order, a Shark drone was flown to record what we hoped was an empty Envigo facility. Instead, our drone recorded more beagles. There were less than before, and so we assumed that the transfer operation was moving much more slowly than should be the case. We were, to say the least, unhappy to see all those animals still there. We began trying to figure out why HSUS, which brings in well over $100 million a year, was taking such a careless, lackadaisical approach to an animal rescue project requiring speed and efficiency. As we started to inform people and hopefully push HSUS into a higher gear, we learned something even more disturbing. It turns out that HSUS hadn't moved any beagles yet. None. That raised a whole different issue. If no dogs had been moved yet, why were there so many empty cages? Envigo management didn't want to turn these dogs over for adoption. They wanted to make money selling them. Their request to sell an additional 2,100 dogs was denied by the judge. Apparently, HSUS doesn't have anyone posted to watch Envigo, and I have to ask why. I should mention that when the drone was flown on July 8th, Envigo called the police. That drone wasn't doing anything disruptive whatsoever, so what does Envigo have to hide? Fortunately, the police were completely professional, and after we spoke, they let me go on my way. A press release issued by HSUS a week after the judge's order states, "At this time, we are connecting with our shelter and rescue partners and preparing to take on the monumental process of securing placement for these dogs. And now that the court has approved the joint transfer plan, we and our partners are preparing to move quickly to place these beagles in loving homes." Well, first, why is HSUS connecting with partners a week after the judge signed the order? Those connections should have been made weeks ago. To claim now that they're preparing to move quickly is a real joke. If HSUS had moved quickly, this operation would already be over. Calls to HSUS will get you someone who reads a prepared statement which is outdated. They will not or cannot have a real conversation with you on what the current status is of the situation or why it is taking so long to rescue the beagles. HSUS is quick to point out that their contract says they have up to 60 days to complete the move. Lawyers wrote up that contract. I'm not coming at this from the standpoint of a lawyer. I'm looking at this as an animal advocate who wants to see a better life for these suffering beagles as soon as possible, not simply when it is convenient for HSUS overpaid bureaucrats to get off their butts. Perhaps the thing that is most perplexing is that some people who claim to care about animals are trying to defend HSUS. To those clueless folks, and certainly to the management and board of HSUS who are unwilling to so much as break a sweat to help animals, I say, what the hell's the matter with you? Which of you are willing to spend the next 60 days in these filthy cages listening to these suffering animals? If it was you in these cages, you'd want HSUS to move a hell of a lot faster than 60 days. And that, my friends, is the difference between Shark and HSUS and a whole lot of other supposed humane groups today. There are too few of us who are willing to do what has to be done as expeditiously as possible. The HSUS failure to act swiftly does not come from a lack of funding. In 2020, HSUS brought in more than $124 million. HSUS CEO Kitty Block made more than $440,000. The Humane Society of the United States is classified as a nonprofit, but that operation looks pretty damn profitable to me. HSUS will raise millions more over the takeover of Envigo's Beagles because it will make it sound like this was a great animal rescue instead of the shitstorm it truly is. Shark has called out a lot of animal abusers on a lot of issues. Let me make this clear. When the cruelty and carelessness occurs on our sides, we'll call these losers out the same way. Shame on HSUS, the Humane Society of the United States, profiteers, and sycophants. HSUS personnel should look forward to more exposés from Shark. As your name implies, you're supposed to be a humane organization, not profiteers off the suffering of animals. So get to work, and until you do, we're going to expose you over and over and over again, and you may find a shark drone sitting over in Vigo until you get the job done. We'll be getting back to everyone very soon with an update on the shitstorm that is the HSUS takeover of Envigo Beagles. I'm Steve Hindy for Showing Animals Respect and Kindness.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel to see more of our investigations and learn what you can do to help Shark help animals. If you'd like to support Shark directly and gain access to exclusive content, please consider sponsoring us on Patreon.